My name is Amarama Vercnocke. I'm a local artist and have actively been involved with art a long time. I like to do pieces that focus on touch, predominantly for those who are vision impaired or sensory seeking. One of my children has formerly known as Asperger's on the autism spectrum, so I like to make artwork that is touch friendly. And this piece here, this bust of Vincent, and yes, please do touch the artwork. I work with fiber because there's different textures and different types of fibers, whether it's llama, alpaca, angora, or wool. And one day, my daughter inspired an exhibit. She was touching a piece and her eyes were closed. She's like, "Mom, I can feel the colors." And that's what got me into thinking, oh, how would you explain famous past art pieces to someone who is blind or vision impaired? This piece she was touching had brown llama, blue Icelandic sheep wool, and yellow Tulsa silk. So what I did is I submitted this. The original proposal had 10 recreations, and it was a nice way for myself as an artist. I hadn't had an art history class in 16 years since college, so I wanted to self-study different time periods of history. So I went into these different pieces, and I wanted to look like it was either in a 3D form, soft sculpture, or like someone went up to the piece and pulled it out in 3D relief. But then each color you see is a different type of fiber, so you can feel where the color changes. And I wanted to build that empathy for those of us who are sighted to maybe see how those who experience the world through touch maybe might interact with things. So with this piece, when I made it in mind, it's the idea that not only are you feeling the form of Vincent, but each of the little colors and the nodules, I was trying to replicate his brush strokes in that 3D format. This is actually one that's based off of his last self-portrait before he committed suicide. In the portrait, you never see the side where he had the ear, and that was a lot of fun to also research and study. And yes, I tried to make it as accurate as possible, because in researching it, it was really interesting. So we've all heard the myth of, oh, Van Gogh is crazy and there's a lover and he cut his ear off, and that wasn't the case. That they're finding more and more based on his notes to his brother Teo, and then some other wonderful documentaries that I looked up as part of my research. But I tried making the ear as accurate as being cut off based off of drawings that they found from the doctor that did actually inspect the ear, and it was really similar. The doctor even made notes and saying it was similar to that of like a rapier. So one of the theories is possibly he'd gotten into a sword fight with another certain artist, which back then was really not okay. So that's kind of what I wanted to capture, was that not only that side that you don't see, but then also being able to see through touch. Any questions?
Have you had feedback from non-sighted persons who touched it and they
Yes.
learned something new about the work?
This piece, along with several others, it was on display for the course of 2 months at the Rochester Public Library last year. We had over 1,000 people come through and filling out paperwork. And I did have about 30 individuals who came in, and this one was the most well understood of the pieces, and it was really cool to have feedback. There was 1 or 2 pieces that they didn't quite get it, but it was wonderful to hear from a lot of them that they could tell texturally where there was a different change, and that was to represent the color changes. I think one of the original pieces I did was a recreation of Jackson Pollock's Blue Poles, and that one for me was the hardest thing I've ever worked on. Because normally when you work with fiber, it's a small micro level. This was also a chance for me to work on a larger scale, and that particular piece I had over 14 different fibers to work with. So yeah, it was an honor. Great question, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, well, thank you. It was an honor.